Alright, how's it going, everybody? We're going to be talking about the new patch notes and how they will affect the meta. I'm not going to go and do like a breakdown of the whole patch because I feel like, you know, you can find a video of that, or you can just read the patch notes yourself. And it's pretty easy to understand. A lot of the stuff in the patch is speculation since the patch notes here are extremely vague. They don't really tell you what's happening. They just say, hey, some stuff's changing. Silent Suzuka trainee event is changed. The parameters are different. It's like, okay, what does that mean? So the patch notes aren't super clear on exactly what's happening. The only thing we know, for example, is like that the new mechanics are being added, right? We know what these are, so we know how they will affect the races and things like that. I think realistically, the biggest things coming to races is that Guts is now a very valuable stat. And this new runaway style, which is like a enhanced version of front runner. You're still a front runner if you have this. So I think Silent Suzuka is pretty much the only one who can do it right now. But you're essentially just a front runner, but you have different like targets you're trying to hit. And that's about it. The only thing that affects the front runner still affects this. You're just going to be running further out in front, and you have different coefficients and things like that. And then because the Guts, like I said, Guts is a much bigger deal. It affects your last spurt speed. It is in this spot struggle system, and it is in this dueling system. So we have two new mechanics that are affected by Guts, and now Guts is just adding flat speed to the final leg. So Guts is now an extremely valuable stat, as well as Guts is also just a replacement for stamina, though it scales differently and scales diminishingly pretty aggressively. So it does lose value there pretty quickly, but the amount of speed you get from these other mechanics is significant. So Guts will be a good stat going forward. We just need to worry about how many stats we can realistically get in Unity Cup. I am new to this game. You know, I'm a new global player. I've never played anything else, so I don't know exactly what we're going to get in Unity Cup, but I suspect it won't be that bad. Another change here is adjusted systems involving hills on courses. If you know anything about the back end on how the game's being run right now, the hill system we're using is pre-anniversary. Once on the 1-year anniversary patch, they changed a bunch of the stuff on the back end for how the course data works. I can show you an idea, right? So this is my sheet. This is Virgo 1600, right? This looks like the emulator because it's pretty much just like supposed to. This is supposed to look like the emulator. It's the same concept, right? So the race course for Hanshin is flat. There's actually a small hill right here. Can't really see it, but there is one there. And then it's flat, and then there's another uphill. So for Virgo, using the old course data, there are no downhills. But if we go into the post-anniversary course data, this is the race for Virgo. And if you look at line 684 here, this one right here, we have a slope that's negative, which means there is a downhill. So assuming that the course data is updated and we're using post-anniversary course data, there should be a downhill in Virgo. Luckily, we don't have to speculate this for very long because it'll be very easy to try once the patch hits. Just go run a gold she with Go Home Specialist on that track and see if she can proc her heal. And that will be a very conclusive test for whether or not there's a downhill. But I suspect that we will be switched over to the post 1-year anniversary course data. So expect the course for Virgo to have a downhill would be my suggestion. You can wait if you want until that patch actually hits, because, you know, again, it's very easy to test whether or not it's true. There's skills that improve navigation, now also improve passing ability. If you know about the dodging danger, prudent positioning skill combo that front runners use, if you've seen that video, this also might mean that is going to work as well. It's a weird interaction. I'll actually show it. But your character just like shoots out to one side of the course and then comes back to the other, and while they're doing that, they get pushed forward really hard. So it's a weird mechanic. I don't know how viable it is for us to like care about it, but it's interesting. And then recovering endurance late race now enables runners to exert their full strength. This is, it's okay. It makes late race heals not completely terrible. They're still not ideal because you're still going to be running a portion of the late race like slower than you probably should be. But this in combination with the change to adrenaline rush here, where it goes off if you're below 30% HP, actually makes the rice shower card not terrible. So if you're using the stamina rice shower card, and then for a long, you can get cooldown, extra tank, and then if you're running Creek, you can also get Maestro. So you don't even need the new Creek power card. I mean, it's not bad though, and you know, you can get it still. But the point is, like, this skill is actually not terrible. It's still not great, but it's not terrible either. There's a lot of just things in this patch that are like not at all descriptive and all on what's going on. So there's a big speculation from the 1 year anniversary patch where all these like things are changing with all these characters and stuff like that, that all of these changes are coming with this patch. I guess we'll see when it comes out, but there's a sheet that I'll have in the description that has all this stuff. This sheet is getting absolutely bombed by people, so it's struggling a little bit, but it'll be in the description. You can check out all the particular changes. I'm not going to go over all these in this video because I feel like it's not, like, you can look it up if you want to. It's just not that much going on here. The biggest thing will be the actual changes to races and which stats are actually going to be good and how they affect your runners and how you want to train them and stuff like that. So like I said earlier, Guts is actually a much bigger stat now. And while that's true, we're also going to need a lot more HP than we've been getting. Things like Dueling. Dueling is especially big for how much HP we need, but also just running faster in the last spurt means, again, you're going to need even more HP. So let's take a look at my spreadsheet here. We have the Virgo race, right? Hanshin 1600. This is using, again, the old course data. I haven't changed it yet because I'm not going to change it until I know whether or not I need to. So it's like relatively flat, and there's a little baby uphill right here, and then there's a big uphill right here. If we look down here, I added some November 11th new mechanics stuff. So this is using the Guts stat that you put in here, and it'll update. So this stuff isn't added in the simulation yet. But what it is here for is giving you an idea of what effects will happen on the 11th patch. So if we look at 600 Guts, right, which is not terrible. It's, you know, middling. 6 stam, 600 Guts, 600 wit. Virgo is a power course, so you get a speed bonus from power. So you're gonna need at least 901, right, to get the maximum speed bonus. So I have just set at 950 and then 600 in the other stats, because is this realistic? I have no idea if this is a realistic stat line in Unity. I suspect it might be, or maybe it'll be a little too high. We'll see once Unity comes out. But so for Dueling, this is the new mechanic where if someone's near you, you go into this mechanic. So if you look at the Dueling mechanic here based in the mechanic stock, all it's looking for is an Uma within 3 meters of you and 0.25 times course width, which is just a stat you don't need to worry about. Just someone's near you and their speed is comparable to yours. They need to be at least within 0.6 meters a second from like your speed. So as long as someone's running a similar speed to you and close to you for 2 seconds, more than 2 seconds, and in top 50% of placement, this will go off. And what it'll do is it'll increase your target speed and acceleration entirely based on your gut stat, and that's it. The biggest thing that you need to take away from this is that it does not occur if your HP is less than 15%, and it immediately ends if you go below 5%. So what that means is you need to have at least 5% of your HP when you end the race if you don't want to get kicked out of Dueling early. Ideally, you're dueling somebody during the final straight, and the dueling can only happen on the final straight. So during the final straight, you want to be dueling someone, or you need to at least assume you're going to be dueling someone for pretty much the entire final straight. So you need to be able to run the entire final straight the whole time with the dueling velocity buff and acceleration buff, right? So you get this just from having dueling active, and you need to end the race with 5% of your HP or dueling will end early. And you don't want that, because then the other guy might, you know, keep running and then you'll lose because you lost your 0.4 meters per second. And I mean, if you look at this number, this is a really high number, 0.41, right? Triumphant Pulse, which is, you know, not considered, it is one of the best velocity skills in the game, is a 0.45, and it has a duration where this will just remain active as long as you have somebody you're dueling. So it's permanent in the final leg. So this mechanic is incredibly strong as long as your Uma is like in a good position. They need to be in the top 50% and have someone who's running equivalent speed near them, and that's it. But yeah, you need to end the race with 5% of your HP remaining. So this is what the HP would be requirement for Virgo as a front runner. Realistically, a front runner probably doesn't have somebody they're gonna duel the whole time, which is why down here I have like a different calculation for them. Whereas if we do late, it's not gonna be changed that much, 104, because your race style is multiplied by your stamina and not by the total HP, blah blah blah. All you need to worry about is like you need to end with this much HP or you lose dueling. So realistically, 100 HP is also like, this is over 100 stamina, right? 50 stamina for a late is 41.6 HP. So if you want to be able to duel for the whole final leg, you need to have over 100 more HP. And this does not account for the increase from this and the actual increase from the speed, but this does. So 156.19 HP. So that's what? That's nearly 200 stamina that you need. More than what we were aiming for previously. So that gives you an idea of how much higher the HP requirements are going to be going forward. Now, this doesn't have to be all stamina, though. As you might know, Guts is kind of a replacement for stamina. If I lower my Guts, this number actually gets better. Yeah. Because what Guts does is in the final leg, it takes your HP drain and it multiplies it by something that's modified by your Guts. So it increases how much HP you're draining in the final leg is essentially all it does. And then your higher your Guts, the lower the modifier is, so you're penalized less. So the higher your Guts, it doesn't actually give you HP, but it prevents you from spending more HP. So it is sort of equivalent to stamina, but not exactly. And it diminishes the more you have of it. So the more you have of it, the less valuable it becomes in terms of saving you HP. But on the same hand, the more of it, the more dueling speed you get. So you get less HP from it, but then you run faster, and then it lowers your HP drain. So it's a very versatile stat. And then if we go into front runners, they also have spot struggle, and this is also affected by Guts. Spot struggle's definition here. I'm not entirely sure how this mechanic works, like if it can proc more than once, but it goes off as long as you have 2 front runners or 2 runaways. They cannot intermingle. It has to exclusively be 2 front runners or 2 runaways. And then their this modifier is completely affected by Guts again as well. So this has a duration, and it goes off within the first 6 sections. So it's 150 meters from start up to the 6th section. And then if you're in the 9th section, it ends automatically, even if you have duration left. So it can only go up to the 9th section, and it starts at earliest 150 and starts at latest in 6th section. The biggest takeaway from this is it gives you speed, right? Which further helps front runners get even further out in front of everyone else. But it also increases your HP consumption by a pretty large amount. If you rush while you're in a spot struggle, it's very bad. Like, this 3.6 is excessive. And for runaways, this 3.5 is already excessive. And then it goes up to 7.7, and this is, like, unrecoverable. This is going to drain pretty much all your stamina. If we look at the sheet for this spot struggle, I have my front runner in here figured out. Previously, front runners were actually the lowest stamina style in the game because they run the slowest in the final leg. But now that they have this extra spot struggle mechanic, they have an extra added stamina or HP consumption mechanic. So they end up needing more HP after this patch than everyone else will. You can see this is an extra 50 HP, which is approximately like, what, 50 stamina or so, which is already what they were ahead in terms of, I think, most other running styles. So they'll probably be equivalent to like Lates and Ends. Pace still has it worst. And the style that is an absolute HP black hole is Runaway. If you look at Runaway for spot struggle, this was what, like 50 for front runner? It's 400 for Runaway. If there's two Runaways, they absolutely will nuke each other's HP. There's no way you can run this style without heals. This is an extra 561 HP expenditure than what the simulator is simulating. None of these mechanics over here are being simulated yet. I did add the Runaway style to the calculator just so you have like a baseline, but the extra gut speed, dueling, and spot struggle are not in the calculator yet. So if you use this calculator and you figure out that you have, 92 HP remaining, you have 92 with the current mechanics. If you add the other mechanics, you're actually not, you're negative or whatever. You don't have enough HP. So you just need to keep that in mind. Once Unity Cup comes out, all of these mechanics I'll just bake into the actual calculator itself. But until then, it's going to be in this like little chart over here. But that gives you an idea of like how much more stamina we need. So currently this stat spread I have, 600 stam, 600 guts. You see 92 HP, that's already not enough, right? Even if I switch it off of Runaway, who is again, HP black hole. We go to front runner, my HP is 107. And then it says we need 200 HP. So I'm still 100 HP short of where I need to be once the patch hits. So I think realistically, you're gonna probably need to run recoveries, or you just need really high stamina. But I think the most realistic answer is to run a gold recovery. So yeah, the stamina requirements for the upcoming Virgo Cup are going to be very large. As you can see, the mechanics themselves, they really aren't that complicated, and it's not that hard to figure out like how it's going to affect your stats and what stats you're going to want and stuff like that. Guts is extremely strong, as you've seen here. Like even at 600 guts, this dueling speed of 0.41 meters per second and the acceleration of like 0.1, assuming you duel as soon as you hit the straight, so like realistically you can't duel until you're on the straight, so you can't duel till here. But you are going to be running acceleration skills, which my sheet doesn't calculate, so you're probably going to hit max speed much sooner than what you see on this graph. The dueling excel will help you hit max speed against people who are like running similar styles to you. So the biggest thing I think this helps is probably paces. Paces are getting head to head potentially, which is an excel skill for them. They're by far the most like handicapped style right now in that they don't really have access to a good acceleration other than no stopping me, which again is going to be like baseline on every Uma. You're going to want no stopping me, except for maybe runaways or front runners, potentially. This last spurt speed is for everybody. So we're just going to have a flat baked in extra speed based on guts. It doesn't change like a ton based on how much guts you have. But even at 600 guts, right? This is an extra 0.18 meters per second for the whole final leg. This is a very large bonus. This is approximately what you get from changing from aptitude A to aptitude S. So this is like going up from aptitude S to aptitude double S. It's just another increment upward. So it's a very big bonus. And then spot struggle just super helps front runners get even further out ahead to make sure nobody can catch them. So with the new mechanics, they're gonna have it tough for sure. But yeah, this Patch is not a super big mystery. Don't get overwhelmed by it. The biggest takeaway is more skills are way more viable. They're all much better in terms of like duration and how to activate them and stuff like that. Everything's much better and much more viable. So in general, it's much harder to make a wrong choice on skills. And then a lot of Umas are a lot better because their uniques are getting fixed. And then the new mechanics highly incentivize you to take guts. So you want a good round stat line. Like, I would not be surprised if this stat line here is like typical. But yeah, that'll be it for this, I guess, breakdown of how the meta is going to change. If you guys have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments, and I will read them and respond most likely. But yeah, this video was helpful to you. Be sure to like it and subscribe, and I will catch you all in the future. See ya.